back at home, you can go into it, you can break it down and let the people know if whether if I made a mistake, put it on a comment board so people can learn. Okay, but pretty much from my understanding of it, how currency comes into existence, the government signs a budget for the year, right, and borrows that money from the Federal Reserve, a private entity, nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. The same thing with the Bank of England, nothing English about the Bank of England. It's owned by the Illuminati, man, the elite banking families that we're speaking about, of which this is one of the shames that's being known unto him. So an act of fraud is committed in that they sign a check, right, to the government from a balance, or from an account that has a zero balance. That's called fraud. Okay, now you have the money transferred to the government. Now, when the government starts paying people like construction workers, okay, social workers, like police and nurses and so on and so forth, that comes all from that same budget, right? And they deposit the money into the bank. Now, then you have what's known as fractional reserve banking, where if they take £10 that you put into the bank, and they, by their own legislation, the legislation of the elite banking families, they only have to keep 10% of that within the bank. And they borrow that money, they loan it out to another individual. And the chain carries on. So that individual takes what? It takes the $9 that's your money, okay, buys whatever, okay, and that goes into another bank, fractional reserve bank, and again, they take 10%. They're only liable to keep 10%. So you go to 100 grand, right? The economy goes tits up. They only have to give you 10 grand back, man. And that's how these banks make their money, through via what's known as fractional reserve banking. So you got all of this cycle of money just being created all the time by a bank deposits and fractional reserve banking. Over time, what's really the value of a dollar? Over time, it's going to be, over time, a small amount of time, it's going to become less and less and less. And remember, it came into inception from the government via debt. It was borrowed into existence. So this whole economy is jacked up, man. It was never going to work because the whole fundamentals of it is via debt, man. Okay, they borrow that money into existence, and then the bank borrows it via fractional reserve banking. It's jacked up. And Henry Ford said it best. He said, like, look, if these people understood how the economy works, okay, they would uproar. But how many people are really going to stand there and understand and try to understand what I've just said? You're going to have a lot of people. Okay, because as far as they're concerned, okay, if the money I've got can buy an iPhone, that's all right. Here today it can, but tomorrow, by way of mathematical reasoning and mathematical deduction of the economic spew that's just come out of my mouth, you can come to the understanding that over time, of course, the economy was going to be jacked up over time, man, because it was set up in a way that's unrighteous. But when you go into the kingdom of heaven, you ain't gonna have that. You're gonna have gold, silver, okay, commodities, intrinsic value, okay, that's gonna have one price. Gold is worth this much. Okay, gold is the equivalent of, a certain weight of gold is equivalent to this certain amount of weight, certain amount of cows of that much. That's how the Lord's gonna set it up. Right, but continuing, it says there. I suppose I can wrap it up in a second. So it says here, so that nakedness shall be uncovered, right? Which is, the secrets of the elite banking families. That's going to be uncovered. That's going to be made known. Okay. So that shall be uncovered. Okay. That shame shall be seen, right? I'll take vengeance and I will not make meat as a man, because they had the heavenly part. The people of the heavenly Father were within hardcore captivity. So the Lord wasn't going to come so politely. Okay. In fact, I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to read it. I have to read it because I mentioned it. 10th verse. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, and hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it hath perverted thee. Thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else. That's talking about their technological leaps that they've had. Okay? Here it is. They trusted in their wickedness, which was what? The lies that they spew out there, and also to the witchcraft that they set this whole empire on. Okay, you go out there into Washington D.C., you see nothing but what? You see nothing but similitudes to Canaanite deities, man. The owl symbolism, which goes back to Moloch, and so on and so forth, man. Okay, and the Lord said that, well, okay, trust in your wickedness, man. So it says, therefore there shall evil come upon thee, and thou shalt not know from whence it cometh, and mischief shall rise, mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand thou with thine enchantments. And that's the Lord being what? Poetic with it. Go on then, trust in your wickedness, man. See if He's gonna be able to save you. Okay, trust in that. Okay, stand now with thine enchantments, right, with the multitude of thy sorceries, when thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be they shall be able to profit. If thou be that thou mayest prevail, okay? And they ain't gonna be able to prevail because you're gonna be coming up. Here it is, the left-hand side which Esau trusts in. That's part of that's part of how the Most High controls the earth. The scripture talks about how the Lord created light. He also created darkness. So therefore, if he created angels on the right-hand side, he created angels on the left-hand side. But guess what? They're all governed. Controlled by the Heavenly Father. So therefore, if you got a situation where Esau is getting power from the left-hand side, that's because the Heavenly Father, who's at the top of the table, told the left-hand side to go help him out. But there's gonna come a time when Lord's gonna tell those left-hand angels, he say, look, he's had his time, that's it now. Okay, he's trusted in the power on the left hand, but the power on the left hand is my power. That's what the Heavenly Father is gonna say, man. And he's gonna say, look, that's it, boom. Okay, you've had your time to rule. Now it's time for the right hand to prevail. So with that, ultimately, that was, I hope that was of edification. I hope all of the points that I was trying to make tied in together and made sense. So with that, I'm going to say all praise unto Yahweh Hashem, Yahshua Bashim, Kakadash, double honors unto the apostles, a great millstone, and honest brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.
All right, is it working all right?